First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. All are welcome at Unity North Spiritual Center. I'd like to send out a couple thank yous. First, I'd like to thank Reverend Barbara for being here today. I'd like to thank Tracy and Martha, the program team. And I'd like to thank Bill Mann here for our beautiful music he's going to perform today. It's all your show.
Please, you can stand or sit, however you prefer. But let's get those energy running. I am the thinker who thinks the thought changes things to shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought has the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things to shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I am wisdom, I am light. I am more than meets the eye, cannot be defined. 'Cause I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things, that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. Yes, I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things, that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I am beauty, I am joy. I am more than meets the eye, cannot be defined. 'Cause I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things, that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought have the power to change my life. Yes, I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things, that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought have the power to change my life. I can choose to be the light that brightens someone's darkest night. And so much more than meets the eye, that cannot be defined. 'Cause I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things, that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things, that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. Have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life.
Thank you, Bill. That was wonderful. Good morning. My name is Bill Roloff. I'll be the worship assistant today. This is a time in our service where we greet one another. If anyone is visiting for the first time, we welcome you to our service. If you're here in person and would like to know more about Unity, please see myself, the program team, Reverend Barbara, or any of our friendly parishioners. For new visitors online, if you wish, you could share your contact information in the chat with Unity North, which goes directly to us and remains private. We welcome you all wherever you are on your spiritual journey. Let us take a moment to wave to one another. Again, we welcome you, and it is a delight to have you. At this time, we take a moment for prayer requests. Let us take a breath or two to first center ourselves. So as you breathe in, bring peace, love, and joy within, and release stress, worry, and fear on your exhales. Instead of saying your requests aloud, we invite you to speak a name or prayer request silently in the sanctuary or aloud in your privacy of your own home, and hold these requests in silence. Let us remain centered and still as I read the daily word. The daily word today is guidance. With an open heart and mind, I heed divine guidance. If I am feeling lost or do not know which way to turn, I take comfort in knowing I can pray and bring my awareness to my connection with God. Wherever I am on my spiritual journey, I receive divine guidance continually, and it is up to me to heed it. Divine guidance does me little good if I doubt it or feel too hesitant to act upon it. I continue to remain open and receptive as I receive my guidance. Even if the call of my heart surprises me, even if I doubt I can do what I'm being called to do, I trust the still, small voice within me. I affirm I am divinely guided and faith-filled. The Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your needs in parched places, and make your bones strong, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters never fail. Isaiah 58, verse 11.
Still I am. Still I'll be. Still inside I am free. I let go all that I hold. Sweet release until I am still.
And in this still time, I invite you to take a few gentle breaths. Let the chair and the floor support you completely. And if you feel comfortable, you can gently close your eyes. And over this time, you may choose to follow my words, or you may go elsewhere. And wherever you go will be so perfect. And if you like, you can let your focus rest gently on your heart space. For I invite you in these next few minutes to take an opportunity to do nothing and just be. Be the observer of whatever experience you're having. No, there's nothing you need to do. You can't do this wrong. And whatever you experience in this time is perfect. And we gather here every Sunday to remember and celebrate who we are. For we are divine manifestations of godness potential in human form. And we are here to evolve and express, to experience more and more of our goodness. Sometimes our journey of transformation happens as a result of challenges that show up unexpectedly in our lives. These challenges are not tests or lessons as such, but rather serve as opportunities for us to learn and grow and evolve because we use them for that purpose. Our experiences help us to become who we came here to be. They dissolve or release whatever is standing in the way of our expanded consciousness. And so as challenges come into my life, I bless them, I embrace them and see them as gifts. I recognize that every experience offers me the opportunity to grow and to release what no longer serves me. And change and challenges invite me to have a deeper connection with Spirit. And as I experience this deeper connection, I begin to experience letting Godness be Godness in me as me. My erroneous belief in separation is healed, and I experience oneness as never before. Knowing that my life is a journey, not a sprint, I am very patient with my evolving self. I let go of any anxiety, for I know that Spirit is conspiring for my good, and it is closer than my breath. Every change and every challenge that comes to me carries me forward in transformation because I let it do so. Every change and challenge that comes my way contains good because I embrace it and I look for the good. I know that whatever I seek, I will find. As a result of my thinking, every change blesses me. I keep my spiritual vision clear. I declare that only good comes from new experiences, and I see amazing blessings in it. I declare that only good comes from new experiences, and I see amazing blessings in it. And so it is. So I just invite you to take a few more gentle breaths and feel that life energy flowing through you, all the way out to your fingers and your toes and the tip of your nose. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes, feeling alert, yet relaxed, energized, yet at peace.
I am a clear and open channel for Spirit here within. Its love flows out of everything I do. Every thought and every feeling, every action, every word is ringing with the subtle sound of you. And I surrender to the will of the Creator, from which all things flow. As I am now and forever opening my heart, and the love within will help to lead me home. Well, I've been in these lower worlds a long time, and sometimes they've almost seemed like home to me. Round and round on the wheel of birth and death, a school where all souls learn to see. And then one day I met a traveler who told me that I did not have to roam. And I stretched out my wings, oh, and I began to sing the song of a soul returning home. I am a clear and open channel for spirit here within. Its love flows out of everything I do. Every thought and every feeling, every action, every word is ringing with the subtle sound of you. And I surrender to the will of the Creator, from which all things flow. I am now and forever opening my heart, and the love within will help to lead me home. And now the path that leads you home is the true one, and it will take you where you have to go, straight into the heart of the Creator. As you grow and unfold, and as I walk along this path with the traveler, I know that I will never be alone. And whether I'm at work or play, I'll still be singing every day the song of a soul returning home. I am a clear and open channel for spirit here within. Its love flows out of everything I do. Every thought and every feeling, every action, every word is ringing with the subtle sound of you. And I surrender to the will of the Creator, from which all things flow. I am now and forever opening my heart, and the love within will help to lead me home. And I sing the song of a soul returning home, the song of a soul returning home.
That was beautiful. Thank you. You could just come to my house and sing to me. That'd be kind of good. Wouldn't that be a good thing? I kind of like that a lot. Well, good morning, everybody. This talk is kind of interesting. I can hear me. Is there a way to not hear me on this? Because I'm getting, it's entertaining, but it's kind of hearing me twice, which is more than, hit the mute.
I don't know if that helps.
That helped a lot. Thank you. I'm getting mesmerized with myself, and that's just not a good thing. Anyway. Today I wanted to talk about the power, I'm getting louder. Anyway, I'm going to ignore that. The Power of Modern Spirituality, and it's from a book by William Bloom called The Power of Modern Spirituality, subtitled How to Live a Life of Compassion and Personal Fulfillment, which I like. I want compassion and personal fulfillment. And so I was thinking about that this week. And I was thinking about hang on a second here. We're going to see if I talk, see it talks back at me. It does, and it's kind of fascinating. And plus, then they're going to have, and then people at home are going to hear me twice. Oh my God, that'd be a bit much. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's perfect. We'll just go like that. Sorry, guys, I can't see you now, but okay. You can go and hear me once now. All right. Meanwhile, back what was I talking about? Do you know? Okay. Well, spirituality and growth. Thank you. Thank God you're here. So I was thinking about religions this week, and I was thinking of if you go Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam. They all they emerged from the cultures that they were in at the time. And I want you to think back about what those cultures were like. People were uneducated. There was no democracy. There was little travel. There was slavery. There was sexism. The average age was 35. Most children died in infancy, or at least both by age of 5. There was uncertainty about food and basic survival. So that was the context of when these religions came into being, what was going on at that time. And so you think religions do emerge out of the cultures and the societies they're in. And at that time, then, the monopoly for information was within the different religions. They're the ones that had the knowledge. They're the ones that had the educated folks. I grew up in Christianity, and in Christianity for a long time, they thought literacy should be confined pretty much to the priests. I personally think that's why they spoke Latin, just in case I might catch on to what was going on, and they were safe then. And if you had questions, you go to them for answers. You get the idea here. And so the information stays with those folks. Also, if you think back to the culture of the time, these were all cultures that had authoritarian societies. So maybe it makes sense that when we were looking at how we were visualizing our deities, it was an old man. We had an old man God, because we had old men running the show on the planet too. So it kind of makes sense. And there was a hierarchy at that time in those cultures as well. So it makes sense that we've got popes and chief rabbis and Dalai Lama, and then next fear down you got the bishops and the priests and senior lamas, imams, and so forth. So actually the religions were created sort of to reflect the culture and the hierarchy that was going on then. It made sense. And there wasn't a lot of spiritual experience for the rest of us. And if you were to have just a spiritual or a mystical or whatever you want to call it experience, you only were supposed to have it in certain ways. And that was at certain places, obviously. You had to do it either in a temple or in a church, and using certain rituals. And that's how you were allowed to feel your connection with the all that is, kind of restricted like that. And most of those teachings came about, and it's not a good or bad, just interesting. They came from a single teacher, and they had pretty much a single teaching, which was often very good. If you looked at the basis of them, they were wonderful. And when these religions began and when they became from their sources, they were beautiful. And there was this energized, there's an enlightened enthusiasm about these religions when they're starting out. And then over time, because we do love to organize things, do we not? And so then we got more organization and you got more stuff going on, and it becomes, so then religion can almost become a repressor of creative thinking, of other ideas. And the reason I kind of thought of this whole week, quite honestly, was I was listening to the news for a moment, and Arkansas is trying to pass a law that will require the commandments. There are 10 of them, aren't there? I was going to say the 12. I realized that's 12 powers, 10 commandments. I get so confused. Anyway, in public schools, of which I personally think that's kind of restrictive in your thinking, because that kind of leaves out a lot of other people who might not be about that. And so that's why I kind of started to think about this, because and when people get excited and get a little zealous about what they believe, they want everybody to believe the same thing. And they believe that you would be better off if you believed what they believed. And they mean it sincerely. they really do think that you'd be better off if you believed what they believed. Yeah, but I got to think, if there, if there are 8 billion of us or 668 billion of us on the planet, we're not all here to have the same experience. And we're probably not all here to have the same belief system to practice with, to see what it's, or the same religiosity or whatever that might be. So we need that variety. I think that is worthwhile. And there's enough of us to go around that we can all have some different ideas and probably still could get along just fine. It's just a theory. So I was thinking about that. And also, well, in the religions that I was aware of, and when I was growing up, religion had a purpose, and that was, the goal was to show you could get to heaven. Because remember, we're suffering in this lifetime. Remember, there was great survival concerns and so forth. And so what the religion would sometimes do is say, it's okay, you can be miserable now. I'm paraphrasing, they wouldn't have said that, but struggling is good because afterlife, there's something really good, heaven, or whatever it might be they suggested. And so that is worth it. In fact, I was at a funeral this week, and for a lovely woman who had a very difficult time, and she was imprisoned in her body for 30 years and couldn't communicate, and was not mobile and so forth. And the person who was talking in the service said, well, again, I'm paraphrasing and not, but he's saying, isn't it wonderful she suffered, because that's really going to pay off. And I was kind of going, okay, so we're supposed to suffer now because then we get the good stuff later. Personally, that isn't how I roll. Well, those of you that know me, I like to have fun now. I'll have fun later too. I'm real okay with that. But that was the belief system, that it was like suffering is good, so you get something later. And so that, and then different religions have different things, because if you were from the Hebrew Bible, we'd have to be pure and chosen to get the good stuff. Some people, you have to have good karma. For some, you have to have, done 10,000 hours of meditation, or be able to recite 400 pages of sacred text, bend over backwards in the lotus position while chanting. I made that one up. Okay, that one's not a real one, but it's kind of how I feel sometimes. It's what you want to do. Okay, and the religions require you to be initiated. You may have to be baptized, some kind of initiation, and the only people who are allowed to talk about religion are certain people, and they have to be ordained or specially selected and blessed in order to do it. And what comes with that over time is this religious certainty, which is we know what's right and everybody else doesn't. And if you've been on the planet for a while, my certainty has really gone down. Okay, you learn that there's more that I don't know, which is actually kind of reassuring after a while, because some of the things I thought I knew were kind of crazy. So the idea that, less certainty is good. And even in unity, we do have some certainties at times. Let's see, we have our 5 principles, and those 5 principles if people hear them, they will think probably theistic God. They just might think that, because that's the wording. We think beyond that because we don't let words limit our thinking. But somebody might think that. And I went to my church I used to live in California, and the minister took a Sunday off and brought in a guest minister. And that person came in and spoke, and then the regular minister came back the next Sunday, and he said, I'm so sorry that I brought in that speaker, because the speaker talked about angels. I went, ooh, note to self, don't talk about angels right here to this guy. Because sometimes we get in our enthusiasm, we think that we know everything, or we become very limited. And so we're not immune to that. I don't know anybody's really immune to that. Some of us think we are sometimes, but it's not true. So sometimes that religious certainty can trip us up, because we have a belief, and then all of a sudden that belief is not serving us well. And I thought of this story, and it was about a teacher who was presenting the law of the pendulum to his students in the class. And that's the idea of a pendulum, is that it never returns to a point higher than the point from which it was released. People know that one. And so forth. So to demonstrate his point, he attached a 3-foot string to a child's toy top, and he pin-cushioned it to the top of the blackboard, and then he pulled it to the side, made a mark where he was letting it go. And of course it swung, and then it came back, and then he made a mark, and it swung a little lower, and within a minute it came to rest. Okay. So then he asked the students, how many of you believe in the law of the pendulum? And all the students raised their hands. Yeah, they could see the naturalness that it never goes higher than where it was originally released. And the students thought that was kind of the end of the demonstration, but it wasn't. Because then he had someone put a desk over to the wall, and then they put a chair on top of the desk, and then he invited a student to sit on top of the desk, because this was a big old building, and they had a steel beam down the center, and in the middle of the room was a large, crude, but functional pendulum that weighed about 250 pounds. And it had been tied with 4 strands of 500-pound test parachute cord. Strong. Okay, so we've got this big 250-pound pendulum that's actually in the room too. And he brought it, and he had a student go sit on the chair on top of the desk with his head against the wall, just like it would be like this, okay? And then he brought that 250-pound, with help, pendulum, because it had more string on it. Anyways, brought it over and reached it right to the student's nose. Okay, you're getting the picture here. Okay. And he says, if this law is true, then when I release this mass of metal, it will swing across the room and return and fall short of your nose. So your nose is in no danger. And he asked the student, do you believe this law? And he said there were little beads of perspiration. And he weakly said, yes. So the teacher released the pendulum, and of course it made a swishing sound as across the room. It paused just for a split second, started coming back. And their teacher reported that he had never seen a student fly so quickly out of a chair in his life. Because I don't know if I could sit there either. And I believe the laws, but just in case. It's our faith. It's like, what do we believe in with certainty? No.
The secret is to release it and not push it.
Oh, that would have been interesting. Oh, a twist on the law. I like that. I like that. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, nowadays, for most of us, and hopefully for everyone here, we are not in survival mode. That we aren't concerned about that so much, so that we can have more curiosity. Our survival anxiety, is about other things, and so we, can have creative thoughts, and we get to contemplate these ideas of religiosity and spirituality. In fact, there's a study that was recently done in Michigan and found that, 70% of modern societies, the people are now identifying as spiritual versus religious. And that increases as you go down in age. And the information age that we're in now is like a democracy of information. And you can go on Google, and if you've got some symptoms, you can look it up, and you can find out, you can bypass your doctor and go right to Google to get medical advice. Maybe not the wisest thing to do. And we can do that for all kinds of things, because we know the information out there is vast and varied. And so we have the freedom, though, to then have a personal experience of what spirituality might be like. So I was thinking about that. And, having spiritual experiences was something I did not look forward to in my youth, because, I had some old ideas. For one thing, I thought a spiritual experience had to be like a peak experience. Kind of like you had to be like Saul in the Bible, get knocked off your horse, and be blinded, and then the light, and then you get enlightened, and then you have to go around and preach. I wasn't into that. Or, the Buddha, you have to sit under a tree and then get enlightened. Anyways, it had to be a peak experience, is what I thought spirituality had to be about. It had to be big. And then I also thought it had to be difficult. Because if it wasn't difficult, why isn't everybody doing it? That was my original thinking. And I thought it required a lot of discipline, self-sacrifice, and purification, which discipline was not always my strong suit. Oh, I love the was in that. But anyway, it's good. You have to affirm, it was not my strong suit. It's so much now. Yeah. Anyway. But it was like, so we were supposed to, if you would go out in the wilderness in the shamanic traditions, I thought it had to be difficult. Or you had to do the meditation. And I was studying Buddhism in San Francisco, well, anyways, in California. And I go on weekends to a monastery in Marin. And there I was supposed to meditate for hours. Oh, God. First of all, my body does not sit still well for hours. They'd let me sit in a chair, because the on the ground thing would, that just was not going to happen. So I'd sit on a chair, and eventually there'd be a buzz around my head. I've got my eyes closed. And so I'm thinking, what is the higher experience of this? Am I to just notice the buzz? Am I to swat the buzz, or am I to endure the bite and then just be one with the bite? It was like, this is not really bringing me feeling connection to my oneness or anything. And so I came to the realization, that perhaps that is not the spiritual practice that's ideal for me. And, if it's difficult, And in Christianity, they've got these certain disciplines too. You have to have abstinence of some pleasures, and that was for me when growing up, that was food. You couldn't eat meat on Fridays. You couldn't eat before you went to church. That there was some abstinence involved, and that was and I wasn't really into that either, because in high school, my friends would go out on Friday nights and have burgers, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is just not right. I was very deep then, you could tell. And then probably the biggest reason why I kind of thought spiritual experiences weren't for me is because I thought that in order to have a connection with all that is, you have to be worthy. And I felt inherently unworthy. Now I was taught that because the tradition I grew up in said I came into this body with sin. Nah, I didn't really. I was a cute kid. There was nothing wrong with me at all. But those ideas would continue on. So I would feel that, that idea that I was worthy of having spiritual experiences and having that wasn't quite there. But, now when I look at spirituality, and I love the definitions that William Bloom has. This is his neutral words ones. He says, spirituality is about connecting with the wonder and energy of nature, the cosmos, and existence. Plain and simple. It's about connecting with the wonder and energy of nature, the cosmos, and existence. Even shorter definition, which I would love as well, is modern spirituality is enjoying the essence of being alive. Okay, that's what I want. I want to enjoy the essence of being alive. And then he goes on to say, and so modern spirituality is about feeling our connection with everything, with each other, with the plants, the water, the soil, whatever it might be. It's the sense of having a relationship with everything. And it's about sort of melting your boundaries and allowing everything to touch your heart. I like that. And it's about feeling alive in every cell of your being. Now, these are things I want to experience. And so it's being about whatever it is that makes you feel life's magic. So this is freeing up. It's not limiting me to spiritual or religious practices as I thought of originally. So this means spirituality, feeling the essence of being totally alive and connected with each other, is about, maybe it's about you experience that through music, I'm guessing. Or it's movement. We were talking about dancing. Or it's being with your beloved. Or it's celebrating, or it's cooking. Or it's drumming, gardening. I'm hoping I'm hitting something that's hitting with everybody. Hobbies, meditation, parenting, reading, TV. Whoa. Watching a beautiful sunset. Because I'm thinking sometimes, if any of you have ever watched, what is that, Called the Midwife? It's a PBS television show. When I watch that show, I feel connected to everyone, and I'm sobbing, and it's just wonderful, and it gives me goosebumps. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. So kind of getting the drift here, just about anything becomes a spiritual experience if we see it as that, and we welcome it as that, and we're open to it. We can get distracted by it. William Bloom is from Great Britain, so he was working with Anglican clergy. And he was doing a seminar with them because they felt very disconnected from the wonder and energy of existence, exactly what we're talking about. So he was talking about them, and he had them list in this workshop all the things that made them feel connected to the wonder and joy of being alive. And he said what was interesting, none of them mentioned the Eucharist or communion, which is very important in their tradition. And he said when they first went into their callings, I'm sure that that was very important to them. And when they would perform that rite, it helped them feel connection. But somehow the busyness of life and the repetition, or whatever it might be, caused that not to be something that any longer provided that connection. And he said it was also kind of reassuring because those who are supposed to be specialists in having spiritual experiences still struggle because of the busyness. And so he said there's a 4-step process that you can get past all that. And you know me, I like simple things. 4 steps. Especially when the first step is pause. Pause what you're doing. And he says it's hard to, when you're running energy that's nervous energy, it can be hard to get still. But he says that's the first thing you do. And realize that it might be uncomfortable when you get still and pause for just a moment. Because when you are, you've got adrenaline-fueled emotions and thoughts, when you bring them to a stop, it can feel kind of irritable. You can feel a little nausea even. When you're slowing down all the busyness, it can be uncomfortable initially, but that's the first step, just pause. And the second step is relax and center. Get grounded in your body. I think of that as getting present. You just move into this moment. He says, and that is like how it feels after you've had a satisfying meal. You know how you just sit there for a few minutes at the table and you just, isn't this wonderful? He says, so you get present and relax. The third step is to observe. And he says, observe in a kind, soft, good-humored way. He says, think of it as having an inner smile, or an outer smile is good too. Some of you have great outer smiles. And so it's just to observe with a smile. And he says, the fourth one is then just to yield to the connection that results from that. To just yield. He says, and that's kind of like, if those of you are bath people, you know when you get a bath and the water's just the right temperature, and you're just totally relaxed in it. So these are 4 steps I like. Pause, relax, observe with a smile, and then yield to what's going on. I can do that. Not tough, doesn't make me sit in any specific position, doesn't require lots of hours of anything. It just invites us to do that. And then he says, once you do these, then what you're invited to do is just keep repeating it over and over again with whatever you're experiencing. So whatever you're experiencing, and in the morning, go out and watch the birds and sit out on the patio and just relax. There may be coffee or orange juice involved, and just be there. And then it's like, be present to what's happening. And then birds will make you smile because they're quite humorous actually when you're just watching them. Those of you that know that. And then just feel your connection with it, with them. And what you're having is a spiritual experience of feeling our oneness and our connection, which really can't be beat. So it doesn't have to be anything big or dramatic. It's about taking the things that are happening in our lives, whether it's watching birds or it's playing with your kids, or if, whatever it might be that you're doing. If you're knitting a sweater, whatever that might be, just the joy of being in the present moment, doing an activity that connects you with others who do that activity or are going to benefit from it. Doesn't matter what it is. We get to feel our connection and feel the awe of just the being alive in these bodies that we've been given at this time. And the good news I like is that we get to choose our beliefs. We don't need a middleman to be in there to tell us what to believe. We don't need any fancy rituals even, although they're fun, and rituals are beautiful. but you don't need them because sometimes they're not available. But whatever it is that we can use that helps us get into that sense of awe of all that is around us. And just open our minds. And that's probably the biggest challenge for me, is to just open my mind. And I thought of a story I wanted to close out here with, and it's a small town in Texas, and a new tavern business owner was starting to construct a building in which to open a bar. And the local Baptist church began a campaign to block the bar from opening, and they used petitions and prayers and so forth. As the work progressed, however, right up until the week before opening, it was going ahead and nothing was stopping this project, except all of a sudden lightning struck the bar and it burned to the ground. The church folks were rather smug in their outlook. Yeah. Until the bar owner sued the church on the grounds that the church was ultimately responsible for the destruction of his building, either through direct or indirect action or means. So in response to the lawsuit, the church vehemently denied all responsibility to any connection to the building's demise. And as the case progressed into court, the judge looked over the paperwork, and at the hearing, he commented, "I don't know how I'm going to decide this, but it appears from the paperwork that we have a bar owner who believes in the power of prayer and an entire church congregation that doesn't." Yeah. We're powerful beings. We're gifted this time in these wonderful earth suits to be present and to connect with each other. And so my wish for you is the same wish I have for me this week, and that is that I get to remember to be present and to relax and to have an inner smile as I feel my connection with every person I meet this week. And so it is.
Well, I'm going to try something that I've rarely tried with this particular song. And I'm going to ask you, it wasn't written as a sing-along, but I just noticed that the chorus might be easy to pick up. We don't have words up on the screen or anything, so you'll just have to do the best you can from memory. But I'll teach it to you at the beginning, and then we'll see how it goes. The chorus is, "In every moment is a new beginning. It all depends upon your point of view. And you will find that you can't stop grinning if you will only change your attitude. And then there's another part that follows that you'll pick right up. So I'm going to do it. Here's the tempo. So pick it up as you will, if you will. Every moment is a new beginning. It all depends upon your point of view. And you will find that you can't stop grinning if you will only change your attitude. One more time. In every moment is a new beginning. It all depends upon your point of view. You will find you can't stop grinning if you will only change your attitude. Excellent. The morning's dawning and the sun is shining, and birds are singing in that special way. Song is playing and the words are rhyming. Door is opened and I'm on my way. Every moment is a new beginning. It all depends upon your point of view. And you will find you can't stop grinning if you will only change your attitude. There you go. If in the mirror dark side is showing, and your recovery is much too slow. You can change it in a moment just by knowing. You send it love and then just let it go. Every moment is a new beginning. All depends upon your point of view, and you will find you can't stop grinning if you will only change your attitude, attitude. Everywhere you go, you turn, you'll find is true. There's a clear way through. Golden opportunity is waiting here for you and me. It comes down to we're the one who chooses to open the door or keep it closed. And we can be the one who uses the secret each and every moment shows. Here we go. Every moment is a new beginning. All depends upon your point of view, and you will find you can't stop grinning if you will only change your attitude, attitude. There you go. There you go. Thank you.
Excellent song. We were talking before service about line dancing, and I was thinking, well, that would be a great line dancing song right there. All right. Now is the time to bless our offerings. Okay. We invite you to go to our website, unitynorthmn.org, and find the donation button on the homepage and give your offering there. For those of you that are in the service today, if you prefer, feel free to leave your offering in the basket in the end of the middle aisle by the door to the sanctuary. If you would like to mail a check, our address is also on the website. Please join me for the offering blessing. Divine love flowing through me now blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful.
I am grateful to be giving from within. There's abundance in my life now, and now my blessing has been sent. I am grateful to be giving from within. There's abundance in my life now, all my blessings have been sent.
All right, community news. Announcements. Our prayer chaplain today is Rebecca Thompson. Our healing facilitator is Cindy Huberty. Party program 2025 tickets can be purchased. Please go online, go.unitynorthmn.org/party tickets 2025. There are still tickets available. I don't think I see Wendy here today, but I'm going to read the Crazy Kebab Meal, which is July 12th, Saturday from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Location, Wendy Erickson /Fisher Homestead in Andover, Tickets are $25 apiece. There are only 4 left. Join us for a delicious backyard feast featuring a variety of meat, seafood, and vegetable kebabs grilled to perfection. We'll pair the kebabs with a side of flavorful, dirty rice, an assortment of fresh salads, warm cornbread, and a variety of beverages. For dessert, indulge in ice cream pops dipped in rich chocolate, a sweet finish to a fantastic meal. Our shaded backyard patio offers a cool and comfortable setting starting at 3 p.m. No heavy sunscreen needed for those with sensitive skin. Come early to enjoy light appetizers before the main meal is served, which will be around 4:30 to 5. Great food, great company, and chill vibes, summer chill vibes. What more could you ask for? Guests with mobility issues or challenges are welcome to drive down the backyard to the walkout basement entrance. Youth and family program. There are still opportunities for volunteers to help with summer Sunday school. The sign-up is in the narthex. If there's any questions, please reach out to Kathleen. Family table drive will be this Thursday, June 26th, from 5 to 6 p.m. If you would like to help prepare or serve meals, there is a sign-up sheet in the narthex. With any questions, please reach out to Kathleen. And then also Family Promise information, if you would like to look at it, is also in the narthex. All right, please join me in speaking our affirmation together. Centered in prayerful intention, we give thanks for an overflowing abundance of spiritual prosperity, new members, and children for Unity North Center.
You got one more?
Please join me for the prayer for protection. The light of God, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God is over us. I am the powers of God. Where we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it be